Vladdy goes yard multiple times, and the Jays move on. Let's get into it next. The Jays move on to the American League Championship Series with a resounding, fairly dominating performance on the New York Yankees. The Bronx Bombers were muzzled for most of the series, and the Jays bats not only woke up in these playoffs, but they were on fire. I mean, the way they capitalized on opportunities and the timely hits, we'll get into all of that. But first things first, we got to start with the man, the myth, the legend, my man, number 27, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And I said it at the beginning, I said it in the last time we spoke about the Jays, I say, hey man, your stars gotta be stars. And if that ain't gonna be the case, you aren't going anywhere. I don't care what type of sport you're talking about. When it comes to playoff time, the top guns got to do their thing. And Vlad did his thing. And he got some help as well, too, along the way. But, like, he was fantastic. I mean, when it was all said and done, he averaged about 500, about 529 on the series, 3 home runs, 9 RBI. I think in this case here, the stat I saw here, the OPS is the highest versus the Yankees ever, with a minimum of 15 at play appearance, which is 1.908. That's crazy. It seemed like every time he came up, it seemed like he was going to hit one, out the park, and he's in a rhythm right now. They couldn't figure out a way to pitch around him. They tried to pitch, they tried to jam on the inside. It didn't work. They tried to pitch him up in the strike zone. That didn't work. They tried to pitch him away. In this case here, he was able to, hit some to the opposite way. And I think this goes back to what I said in my initial assessment of this series and what I think had to happen for at least the Blue Jays mindset, but especially for him. I think with him, he had to actually take a better and a much more disciplined approach at the plate, and he definitely did so. He put the Yankees pitchers on a lot of deep counts and waited for his pitch, especially in that game. I believe it was game 2 where he had the grand slam. Where it was 5-0, and then he went yard. My gosh, that shot was far, it was long, it was deep. It is out of here. Yankees lose. Yankees lose. Oh, the Yankees lose. I must admit, I did enjoy that moment in the celebration. And props to John Sterling, man. Always gives a great call. I can't lie, man. But you know what? Sometimes, you gotta kind of give it to the other team sometimes a little bit, man. Hey, it wouldn't be sports if it wasn't. So, Vlad was great. The pitching overall, I thought the starters did all right. I must admit, I was a little concerned. I didn't think in this case here, I thought he pulled Bieber a bit too soon. I always like to see a pitcher work himself out of a jam. And when it's all said and done, usually your starter that's out there is usually your best option, in my opinion, than a middle reliever. I am still a little concerned about the middle relief. Flaherty wasn't great at times in this series. A little shaky. Varlin, he's the one that gave up the shot to Judge. And they have great stuff, but it is, that middle relief is still a little soft in my liking, but overall, I can't complain with the performance. And my man, Daulton Varsho, boy, let me tell you something, man. Varsho, he was like Wednesday, boy. He was in the middle of it. Let me give my man here, man. He's about 478 for batting average, home runs, 2 home runs, a 4 ribby, 7 runs coming in. As I said before, he was in the middle of it. Anytime you look to someone coming across the plate with a blue jersey, his number was showing up. 3 doubles in the series. He was fantastic. Some good glove work too. I would say, I said also too at the beginning that the Yankees have a tendency to kick the ball around. The Jays are very good defensively. And funny enough, the one game the Yankees won, the Jays actually looked like they were wearing the pinstripes, as they were the one kicking around the ball, dropping balls in the shallow outfield and all sorts of stuff. What broke open that game, which gave Judge the opportunity for the extra at bats. But overall, the Jays were pretty buttoned up with some of the glove work. Vladdy was great at first base. Overall, they did their thing. But once again, the timely hitting. Luke's in this case with a huge hit. In this case, that broke open game 1. I said Varsho, everyone, Kirk in this case, and once again, your stars gotta be stars. And Kirk was in there setting the tone in game 1, as well with Vladdy. Could this be the year? there's some minute, there's still a lot of hurdles left to go, but we'll see how it looks. When we get the next round. I get into that a little later on when we get deeper into that playoff series for the championship series. But I think right now, the Jays, they get some time, fair amount of rest. They get to do their thing. Gosmo ready to go for game one probably. And that's what you want. And I think for the most part, they didn't get. The analytics are still there. It's part of the game, but I don't think they were beholden to them, which I think in the past, that is what my big issue has been with Jays management and how, and how they're managing the team, especially when it comes to the pitching side, even with their approach at bats. But I think, I like what I saw in this case in series one, and we'll see where things go. A little bit epitaph here for the old pinstripes, the Bronx Bombers. I think they got to look at kind of freshening up that lineup a little bit. Giancarlo Stanton, fantastic player, probably a Hall of Famer. Pretty sure of that. I think he might be it might be coming to the end for him pretty soon. Judge is fantastic. What can you say? But he can't do it alone. I mean, Judge's numbers, he hit the big, huge, monstrous 3-run home run in game 3, batted about 600 in the series. RBI was 6. He had 4 walks, 5 runs. They literally, I think the strategy with him was do no harm as much as possible when it came to Judge. And I think for the most part, they try to do the best they could, which is if he's going to do damage, make sure there's no one on base when he's doing the damage. Unfortunately, the one time they couldn't escape him. Well, I should say that it was the second time actually in game one with Gosman. They had a tight moment there too, but they got away with it there. They did not get away with it in New York in game 3. But they think overall they did the best they could because, he's such a fantastic hitter. To be fair, the Varlin pitch wasn't that bad. It was a bit inside, a little too much, it was a bit high. It was the heat. He was sitting on the heat. But my goodness, the type of swing he had to actually make that, and the strength it took and the speed to get that shot, to even have a chance for a home run, it was impressive. It was impressive. So the old Jays will be back at it, this coming weekend, and we'll see where things go from there. I won't look too far ahead to the National League because we got work to do first. But the city, as I said before, there is something special when the Jays are rolling. Maybe for some of you guys who are a little younger, have never seen this type of thing before. It is cool to see because, as I said before, they have a special place in the sports landscape in Canada. They truly are the national team. And watching how everyone across the city, the province, the country, is getting behind the Jays, it's fantastic to see. You hear all these stories. I think I saw one the other day on the news talking about someone. I guess Joe Carter went to this place. I'm sorry if I can't remember the place. But I guess they sell the pastries and pies, and he's a big coconut pie fan. And I guess he had eaten a couple coconut pies prior to the World Series in both times, or maybe both playoff runs for the championship. So now it's kind of a bit of, I guess, a good luck omen or good luck charm, I guess, for some Jays fans to get these coconut pies at this bakery. So there's all these cool little stories that come up in playoff times for every sport, So this is really a cool time, as not just as a Jays fan, but just as a baseball fan, as a sports fan. So keep on enjoying it, guys. We'll see who knows when the ride will end, but keep enjoying it. It's great to have a superstar, in this case like Vladimir Guerrero, playing on your side and watching him become the best player he can be. This is what we've been waiting for in the postseason from him, and it's great to see. So I'll leave it there. As I said before, I won't get too much in the National League at the moment. There is a looming team that's in Southern California that I think we all must be wary of. Doesn't matter if you're the National League or the American League. And I must admit, just on a side note, that was a painful loss for the Phillies. Man, that's a rough way to lose a series. I'll just say that, man. That was a rough way to lose a series. So we'll see what happens next, man. Lots of fun. It's it's October Classic for a reason, and man, oh man, it's delivered so far, man. So once again, you know where to find me as always, man. You can find me weekly on Basketball Rewind with the fellas, Kenyon, Coach Roach. Raptors are season's around the corner. Lots of stuff to discuss there. And as always, you can find me on my social media platforms. That is, of course, that place called X, Blue Sky, Facebook, and of course right here on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and comment. So thanks again, guys. We'll check you next time with those Jays. Talk to you later. Peace.